Okay.
All right. I call to order the meeting of the Greenwood Stormwater Board, Wednesday, April 13th at 4 o'clock. We have roll call, please.
David Payne,
Here.
Forrest Sutton,
Here.
Tim McLaughlin.
Here.
All right, I'll accept a motion for approval of minutes from our last meeting of March 9th.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion?
No, sir.
All right, all in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Shows as being approved. Don't see anything under old business, so we'll move right to new business.
Jump right into you. You, I've got the. You want to share? Share. Good.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon. It's nice to see everyone. Wanted to provide an update on the.
Share the screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, so a couple different things. So in your packets, we provided the full GL detail out of the accounting system that backs up all of this. And then you also see this new schedule, which I'll show you how to access as well. So first I'll dive into Q1 results and then show you kind of the new orientation of the format of the report and how it's changed, where you can access it for future work. So first and foremost, as mentioned in previous meetings, this is a quarterly review of rates to make sure that per municipal code rates are sufficient. The stormwater rate study was from 2021 to 2025 with quarterly review periods. So this is just a further of that continuous rate monitoring. As of the end of Q1 2022, you're actually right on plan relative to the revenue projection for the quarter. They're slightly over, and a little bit less than the projected expenses, which I'll show here in a moment. And then the first chart that you see on the top left, see this chart here. We're projected to continue in line, and then obviously over the next few years, one of the things that we want to keep an eye on is cash position for the utility. So the second at the bottom left chart, the green amount is actual cash and investment balance relative to the plan. So in this case, you're right where we want to be, and then by the end of the year, we actually do expect to start to see that actually taper off as some of that cash is reinvested into capital projects for the utility. As far as a few other items, jump into our additional report here. So as far as the kind of the main standpoint from executive summary for Q1 of 2022, the revenues and expenses are in line. Expenses are actually slightly below projections, and which is consistent with what we saw last year as well. When we look at Q1 actuals, we get $852,055 in revenue versus just over $432,000 in total expenses. So in this case, the fund balance ended at just shy of $2.9 million against the required bondholder requirement of about $490,000. By the end of this year, we expect $3.4 million in gross revenue and approximately almost $9,900 and $9,800 rather in net revenue. So essentially, revenues and expenses this year are planned to effectively be the same. Okay. The fund balance is higher currently than the 2022 plan, as the previous chart indicated as well, and we'll continue to monitor. This chart just shows the quarter over quarter and month over month trends. You can continue to see the quarterly billings increasing. And while the 2021 and 2025 rates didn't really change the rates, you are seeing an uptick in active accounts. I know Kaylee, utility bill manager, is on as well. Her report indicates that shows the total active accounts have increased slightly as well, and that's what I think is driving that upward slope in the quarter over quarter billings. Budget to actual, this is a new view, and I'll show you where this is coming from. Year to date, you've spent $419,000 of a total revised budget of $4,350,000. So you have just under about 10% utilization for the first through the first quarter. There is a large carryover in encumbrance of approximately $1 million capital contribution to the Madison project that is anticipated to be drawn upon this year. Certainly normalize that. Capital improvement plan looks a little bit different now as well. This is the most up-to-date capital projects information that is currently available. It is subject to change, and it changes with Chris's input on a monthly basis at this point. And that this is, at this point in time, the most recent capital improvement plan that the utility is managing around. I would say most important for this year's capital planning perspective is obviously the Honey Creek Bridge replacement. That is the anticipated bond issuance project that is slated for mid this year, as well as the Madison Avenue contribution that you see slated. Those are the two large items. Okay, so the rest of this packet goes through all of the actual accounting financials. Welcome to look at that. We try to do a lot to try to summarize that information that is there presented if you need it. What I'd like to switch to now is show you the new way that this is trying to be put together going forward so that you and ratepayers have access to it, and then I'll open it up for any questions that we have. So I'm going to close out of this document. I'm going to have to go to the city website. So if you go to city departments and scroll down to finance. And then ultimately go to the transparency portal. We hit a landing page such as this, where this information is now stored. It's under this stormwater financial report. So this is the PDF that you saw at the start of your packets, but it's actually just a PDF of a live web page that's updating. So in this case, we're still going to do the quarterly kind of executive summary for you all, but to the benefit of trying to share that information on a more real-time basis, this page has been designed and connected to the city's financial statements, and it updates on a nightly basis. So to the extent that you want to look at revenues, expenses between these quarterly intervals, or if you have ratepayer questions on it, this is a resource that now is available, and just provides kind of high-level trends with around revenues, expenses, cash on hand, the investments on hand, touches. I try to integrate the story map work that you all have done, so that embeds with the work that your team has already done to show where those buddies have gone. So this is a great resource, and just try to embed that into the page, as well as bring in details on all of the current planned capital improvement projects. So back to that CIP table that was referenced a moment ago. These are all future planning projects. As best as we have them, these all update on a bi-weekly basis as well. So it's just a start. I'm sure we'll expand to it over time. You can bookmark this tab. You could put it on your stormwater page, or you could just use it for your personal update in between these quarterly updates. This is kind of the new format, and then once a quarter will come and just provide that revenue and expenses to plan to try to make it more automated for you all, and also make sure that you're getting it as timely as you would want it. So that concludes the update. I'm happy to take any questions or feedback that you have, and otherwise, thank you for the time.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. That's really good. All right.
All right, I think we got a little ahead of ourselves. Do we need to recall the meeting to order and do roll call? Or did we do that and I missed it?
We
You
did.
did that at the beginning. You missed
I
it.
completely missed it then. So, all right. For the record, Chris Jones, Stormwater Superintendent. Yes, I must be here now. I must have blinked or something. All right. Okay, the next item we have on the agenda is we did some work around April Drive and Tracy Ditch. We asked NASB Construction to do additional work on there, remove some additional calorie repairs while they were there. So we need to make an amendment to the agreement with NASB Construction. So the additional work resulted in an additional $1,000 an invoice. So I recommend a motion that we amend the agreement with NASB Construction for the removal of calorie repairs along Tracy Ditch. In the amount of $1,000, terms sufficiently outlined by the legal department. Authorize stormwater superintendent to sign the board tab. Sort of.
That work?
Sure. Not how I would have worded it, but
Yeah.
you'll get the job done.
It fits in the,
You knew that we had roll call. I missed that.
all right, so is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, you have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's being approved.
Okay, the next item we have on the agenda is stormwater citation. If the board recalls, we've had several iterations of this form, and the courts have asked us to modify it once again. And so we've made a few additions to the document for to satisfy their needs, and I think we presented to the board. I recommend a motion that we accept the stormwater citation as presented.
To approve the stormwater citation form as amended.
As amended.
All right, so is there a motion?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All right, was it a lot of amendments or just?
No,
Just
we
couple.
just had to make court costs
Court costs.
were evident. Full print. I think they're under one other thing else. Is there something else?
Phone number.
Oh, no, oh, sorry. All right. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor of approval, say aye.
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 I had one other walk on that I'm gonna try to get through. If the board recalls, last year, we were we received an application from Oldfield Estates. Oldfield Estates, Section 1, their detention bond. The petitioner's name was April Olmsted, if you recall. So they wanted to improve the maintenance of their pond and add an aeration system and a fountain system. Does the board recall that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we asked them to go back to their HOA or their board and work out an agreement from all the property owners. So they've been working on it for the last several months, and I think we've come to an agreement. Our legal department has prepared a public-private partnership agreement that their attorney is currently looking through. It's exactly what we need. If you recall, I made a recommendation that we pay 100% of the costs for the installation and the cost of the aeration system and the fountain. I also recommended that we provide additional funds to help get the project going. We think that might be best how we proceed is we just pay for the equipment and the installation, and then we have the agreement for the continued maintenance of this for the next 10 years, formed by the homeowners group that's responsible for the pond. So,
And the agreement will be with the owners of lots 4 through 9, and section 1 of Oldfield Estates, because by the covenants of the subdivision, they are responsible for maintaining that pond. So that is who the agreement will be with. They'll have multiple signatories to it. And that amount is $10,586, correct?
that's correct, 0 cents.
So what do you ask?
I would recommend a motion that we enter into this agreement as prepared by legal that satisfies our needs of water quality and all the needs to satisfy the legal department. So I'd recommend the motion that we enter into this agreement. I'm sorry.
Approve a
What?
public-private partnership agreement with the owners of lots 4 through 9 of Oldfield Estates, section 1, for detention pond aeration improvement project in an amount not to exceed $10,586. Terms and conditions to be determined by the legal department, to authorize the stormwater superintendent to sign the agreement in the board's behalf.
Okay, let's get a motion and then I'll ask questions.
How much was it again?
$10,586.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so my first question is, you're okay with this, even though we don't have signatures yet?
Well, you're just approving it, and once we finally get the final terms and conditions approved to their attorney, we'll have the stormwater superintendent sign it. We actually put the initial draft together, and we determine what we think those conditions need to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
If it changes, we would bring it back.
If there's any dramatic changes in it, we would bring it back to you.
so then I assume that there's conditions in there that if they fail to maintain it for the 10-year period of time, then there's.
Well, they would be in breach, and we would go back and say, enforcement, you are to take care of this. We end up having to do it, we would probably make them reimburse us, because that would be damages that we have because they were in breach.
All right, so yeah, any other questions? Let's have a motion and a second, so all in favor of the approval?
Yeah, the public-private partnership
Partnership.
agreement with Oldfield Estates.
All right, say aye.
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 That's all I have.
Anything from the audience? Anybody on Zoom or? Okay, not hearing anybody. All right, reports. Anything from our corporate council?
No, sir.
Okay, city engineer.
We do have a new city engineer. His name is Mark St. John. I think he was in a meeting. I'd asked him to come down.
All right, controller, anything?
Kaylee, I know you're on. Do you want to present the document you sent out? To everybody, if there's any questions.
There you go. Okay.
There it is.
Since Zoom's cooperating, I'll go ahead and present these. Basically, we just summarized for the first quarter for ease of viewing. Total active accounts, we are currently up to 18,857. Of those, 1,304 are on the automatic payment plan, which is nice because we can pretty much count on those to be paid on time every time. Electronically billed, we have 1,167 customers that are on that, which is nice because that saves us on printing and mailing costs. In the first quarter, we billed out 871,755. We also collected 836,041. So what was collected during that time was what was billed at the end of last year, at the fourth quarter of last year. We had 132,000 paid in by online or on the phone. Lockbox payments represent the biggest part of that. People write a check and mail it in. And then we have the automatic bank drafts, and then about $1,045 of people coming actually to this building and paying in person. As of the end of March, we have 1,213,122 outstanding. So that would include the billing for the first quarter, and then the other stuff, you see they're 60 plus days old, 332, those are ones that are late payers on other accounts, would be potentially up for going through the lien process. And then as Adam mentioned during his portion, cash balance is 2.1 billion. We've also got investments, and that puts us with a reserve ratio of just over 51%. What that means is we have enough cash to fund basically half a year without another dollar coming in the door right now. Any questions?
Well, thanks, Rick. Yeah. All right. Chris, back to you.
All right, looks like we have several operation and maintenance manuals. I will start. So we have a operation and maintenance manual for Greenwood Estates Mobile Home Park. It's been reviewed by staff. We find it to be acceptable. Recommended motion to accept the document and authorize the mayor to sign the board's behalf.
Your motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 The second one we have is from the Learning Center at Lone Pine Farms. We've reviewed the operation maintenance manual, found to be acceptable. We recommend the motion to accept the document and authorize the mayor to sign the board's behalf.
Motion,
So moved.
second.
Yep.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Next one we have is for Lions Park. It's along Fry Road. We reviewed the operation maintenance manual. We find it to be acceptable. I recommend a motion to accept the document and authorize the mayor to sign the board's behalf.
Motion,
So moved. Second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Next one is operation maintenance manual for Main Street self-storage expansion, Peterman heating and cooling expansion. We've reviewed the operation maintenance manual, find it to be acceptable. Recommend a motion to accept the document and authorize the mayor to sign the board's behalf.
So moved.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Next one is for Sam's Club Fueling Center. They ever finish it? They've been working on that for quite some time. So we have reviewed the operation maintenance manual. We find it meet our criteria and recommend accept the document, authorize the mayor to sign on board's behalf.
Motion.
So, second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Next one is Worsville Road Commerce Center, Lot 1, Phase 2. We reviewed the operation maintenance manual, find it to be acceptable. Recommend they accept the document, authorize the mayor to sign on the board's behalf.
I'll make the motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Worsville Road Center Commerce Lot 2, Phase 2. We reviewed the operation maintenance manual, find it to be acceptable. Recommend motion to accept the document, authorize the mayor to sign on the board's behalf.
So,
Second.
yeah, all in favor, say aye.
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 And the last one is Worsville Center Commerce Lot 3, Phase 2. We reviewed the operation maintenance manual. We find it to be acceptable. Recommend a motion to accept the document and authorize the mayor to sign on the board's behalf.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Yes. that was part of Main Street. Okay, so the next item is our field report. We collected 82.73 tons of debris in street sweeping at a cost of $3,419.59. 15.4 tons of debris for jetting projects throughout the city, 4,007.38. We had 5.2 inches of precipitation. It's getting warmer, so 41 was the Fahrenheit was the average temperature. 244 work orders initiated, 215 completed, 28 requests initiated, 32 completed. Locates are going back up, so we had 2,470 locates, 56 ESC permits issued, 122 inspections, 20 hotspots cleared, 1 stormwater management permit issued, 13 inspections, and education outreach. Ms. Allison went to Sugar River Watch, so she's going to be a certified trainer.
Good, good. Very good. Congratulations.
And that's all I have.
All right. All right, anything from the mayor's office? All right, anything else that needs to come before the board? No. Right, let's do approval of claim dockets. Okay. I'll accept the motion.
I'll move. Accept as presented.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so now anything else needs to come before the board? All right, hearing none, it will be adjourned at 4:28.